Let's bring Jeff Pasquino from the footballguys.com in to get your fantasy football questions for week number 3. If you have a fantasy football question for Jeff, send it to the text board right now, 609-403-0973, 609-403-0973. Your fantasy football questions for Jeff Pasquino of the footballguys.com. Jeff, welcome back. Week 3, baby.
Good to be back. Week 3 already. Happy autumn.
That's right. As soon as we all wait for the season to start. When it does, it just starts moving. So we got Thursday Night Football tonight, Rams and 49ers. Go ahead and tell our listeners who they should have in their lineup from tonight's game.
Tonight, I actually like both running backs. If you're playing DFS, I really like Carlos Hyde, but I think both running backs are going to be in good play. You got Hyde and you got Gurley. I think both teams are going to try and establish the run. If you're going to take a quarterback out of the team, I like Jared Goff as a borderline QB1, more of a QB2. But that's about it. Kickers and defenses are always in play on Thursdays, but the running game is the thing to target.
It's a good point by you. A lot of times the defenses play well on these Thursday nights because the offenses are so bad. All right, let's look at a couple of the quarterbacks here. And don't forget your question, 609-403-0973. Cam Newton, he was a fantasy stud 2 years ago. Last year, up and down. What about so far this year?
Yeah, I think sorry about that. I think Cam Newton's a really tricky one this week. I think that the Saints are going to make anybody look good this year. But is the real Cam Newton really going to stand up this week? I think we're going to find out. I think until further notice, you draft him as a QB1, you got to use him as a QB1, and this is the week to use him.
How about I'm going to get your thoughts on Trevor Siemian. Here's a guy who has put up a lot of points. If you're a fantasy guy the last couple of weeks, I don't know if he's been in starting lineup. Should he be?
I think in good matchups he can be now, but I think this week against Buffalo, I think C.J. Anderson's going to be the show because they won't need too many points this week.
Jameis Winston, a lot of people saw Hard Knocks. They love Winston. He's got all the weapons. You playing him this week?
Again, here's the thing, is that the Minnesota defense is pretty good. Tampa Bay, when they need to throw, he's very good, but they often don't want to throw first. The part of the problem now is that their running back situation is not very good. I do like him this week. I think that he's going to have a solid game, not spectacular, just solid, because the Vikings are pretty good.
A lot of people like Mariota, but against the Seahawks, do you put him in your lineup?
He's a QB2, not a 1. There are a couple better options than him to put in there, but if he's your best option, it's not terrible. Seattle has not done much this year, and it could turn into a shootout because Tennessee can certainly put up points.
We know the Eagles are banged up in the secondary, but what about Eli Manning as a fantasy quarterback?
I'm not trusting that offensive line whatsoever. The Eagles' front four is very good. Carson Wentz is looking very good this year. I like Wentz. I don't trust Manning at all right now.
Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. Answering your Week 3 fantasy football questions. Send us a text, 609-403-0973, and we will answer your questions coming up in just a second. Let's look at the running backs here. Derrick Henry in Tennessee. Is he the play of Titan backs this week?
If he's the number 1, then he's definitely into. Seattle's defense has not looked too solid, and Henry got a ton of workload last week, and he's definitely a running back 1 if he's leading.
Chris Carson, is he the guy in Seattle? And if so, are you playing him?
I think he's the number 1 option that they have right now. Again, the Seattle offense is just not getting there right now. They're still warming up until the passing game kicks into gear. I don't trust the run game, but Chris Carson is a borderline running back 2 this week.
What about in Washington? Chris Thompson with the big carry last week. Don't know what's going to happen with Rob Kelly, but is Chris Thompson a play?
Chris Thompson's a play in PPR leagues, but as far as volume, Perrine saw a lot of touches, and he's got good talent. But they're both in the running back 3 category this week.
Jeff Pasquino, footballguys.com. A couple more here for you. What's going on in Arizona? Are you playing, or are you avoiding that situation altogether?
I'm pretty much avoiding that situation altogether, except for maybe Larry Fitzgerald and the kicker.
All right, let's go to wideouts and throw a couple your way. And what about J.J. Nelson? Big week for him last week. In fact, one of the top receivers in the league last week.
Yeah, and until further notice, I think he's worth using as a wide receiver 3 against Dallas. It remains to be seen that secondary is pretty solid, but I think J.J. Nelson does well on volume when he starts, and I think he's a wide receiver 3 this week.
Okay, how about some under-the-radar guys? Let's go with your main curse, the Jets. I know he's a Jet, Jets, Jet, but is he a fantasy stud?
No. I think that's a one-off. I think that I just can't trust the Jets. That Miami knows them very well. Miami needs a victory. They lost a close one last week. I think they get it this week.
Rashard Higgins had a nice week last week with some injuries in Cleveland.
Yeah, I think he's a great sleeper. If you need a wide receiver 3 or a flex, he's definitely a guy you can plug in there.
Des Bryant, most times big name, Cowboys, but failing in the fantasy world. You playing him?
He's getting a lot of tough matchups early in the season. He's going to get another one this week, but the Cardinal secondary is very good. I think he's a wide receiver 2, but I think you're looking for bigger games later in the year for Des Bryant.
Okay, Jeff Pasquino from the footballguys.com answering your Week 3 fantasy football questions. We got some listener questions in. Pete's got them ready to go in the hopper. So, Pete, fire away.
That's right, Jeff. Going to go rapid fire here. Wentz or Big Ben this week?
Well, Ben's on the road, so that means Wentz.
Kenny Stills or Larry Fitzgerald?
I have to trust Fitzgerald more.
We talked about Winston a little bit. Winston versus Minnesota or Carr versus Washington as a QB1?
Oh, Derek Carr, he's a top 7 guy. Definitely use him.
Christian McCaffrey. This person wants to know, does Christian McCaffrey have a breakout performance versus the Saints?
I think he has a solid performance. Breakout is borderline, but I think he's a strong running back too.
Fournette or Cohen in a PPR league?
I would go with Fournette. He just gets the bigger workload.
Somebody has Rob Kelly, says he might be hurt, so the backup choices are James White or Jalen Richard.
I would go with White. It's a much cleaner situation, especially in PPR.
Chris Hogan or DeAndre Hopkins?
Hopkins has seen a ton of targets. I go with Hopkins.
And then back to the quarterback position, Rivers or Stafford?
That's a closer one. I still like Rivers against Kansas City.
All right, Jeff Pasquino from the footballguys.com. Jeff, week number 3, who are some of the guys you have planned for our listeners this week?
Well, I think at quarterback, you got 2 guys that, you might want to hold your nose and not watch the game, but I think Deshaun Kaiser for Cleveland against the Colts and Andy Dalton against Green Bay. The secondaries are terrible for both those teams. Now, building on Andy Dalton, I think A.J. Green is a huge play this week. At running back, Jay Ajayi, he's a top 5 running back. Don't even think about taking him out of your lineup. Same for Ty Montgomery. And one more wide receiver, Devontae Adams could be a starter, as could be, I think Randall Cobb is going to be borderline for Green Bay, but I think the guy I would want to get out there is Devontae Adams for Green Bay. And the tight end I'll throw out there, again, hold your nose, but Jack Doyle sees a lot of targets from Deshaun Kaiser.
Devontae Adams crushed me last week, by the way.
I'm sorry, Brissett. Yeah.
There you go. Devontae Adams almost single-handedly
I was going
the team
against
back
him, too.
Against me. All right, there's Jeff Pasquino from the footballguys.com. He's answering all your fantasy football questions each and every week here. Sorry if we didn't get to your questions this week. We'll try again next week with week number 4. And, oh, by the way, C.J. Anderson, I'd play him, too, because he crushed me last week as well. Jeff, good luck to you, pal.
Good luck, everyone. Enjoy the games.